Chapter 7. A Path Unfolds. The Final Exam. Strength in Silence. The exam day had arrived, and Naruto stood at the back of the room, arms crossed, eyes cold. The classroom buzzed with nervous energy, but it barely registered with him. He wasn't anxious. He knew he was prepared. After weeks of relentless training, he was certain that nothing would stand in his way. His expression remained blank as the exam instructors entered the room, explaining the tests they would face. Naruto focused solely on the tasks at hand. This is just another step, he told himself, his mind steady, void of any emotion. The tests began: taijutsu, shuriken accuracy, and chakra control. Naruto moved through each segment methodically, as though he were on autopilot. His body flicker jutsu left the examiners momentarily stunned, barely able to follow his movements. His taijutsu was sharp, and his shuriken hit their marks with pinpoint accuracy. The final test was the clone jutsu, and Naruto hesitated for just a moment. He could feel the eyes of the instructors on him, but he didn't care what they thought. The jutsu wasn't something he excelled at, and in truth, he didn't care much for it. It was a minor setback in his mind, a skill that didn't align with the raw power he had been cultivating. He formed the hand signs quickly, with minimal effort, and produced a single, lifeless clone. The examiners gave him a disapproving look, but Naruto shrugged inwardly. He passed the exam with near-perfect marks in everything else. The clone jutsu was irrelevant to him. Later that day, as the sun began to set, Naruto found himself on the roof of the Hokage Tower, watching the village below. His mind wasn't on the villagers or their lives. It was on his future. He had passed the exam, but what now? What was next for him? What did it mean to be the best? "Naruto," a familiar voice called from behind him. He turned slightly to see Hiruzen approaching, his pipe in hand, a thoughtful expression on his face. "You passed the exam," the old man said with a smile, though it didn't quite reach his eyes. "I'm proud of you." Naruto didn't react. "It doesn't matter what they think," he said, his voice as emotionless as ever. "I only care about getting stronger." Hiruzen nodded, taking a seat beside Naruto on the edge of the roof. The night air was cool, and the stars were beginning to appear in the sky. "And what do you plan to do with that strength, Naruto?" Hiruzen asked, his tone gentle. Naruto's eyes were distant. "I don't know yet. I just want to prove that I'm better than everyone else. That's all that matters." Hiruzen exhaled a cloud of smoke, his expression unreadable. "Strength is important, yes, but there's more to being a ninja than just power. Have you thought about what you want for your future?" Naruto didn't answer right away. He had thought about it, but his thoughts always circled back to the same place: being the best, proving everyone wrong. But there was a void in his vision, something he couldn't quite place. He knew he wanted to be strong, stronger than anyone else, but why? For what purpose? "I don't care about being Hokage or anything like that," Naruto said eventually. "I just want to be strong enough that no one can ignore me." Hiruzen looked at him carefully, his eyes softening. "Naruto, there's something I need to tell you, something about your past." Naruto turned to look at the old man, a flicker of curiosity crossing his otherwise emotionless face. Before Hiruzen could continue, a ninja burst onto the rooftop, breathing heavily. "Lord Hokage, Naruto has stolen the scroll of sealing." Naruto's eyes widened slightly, not in shock, but in cold confusion. "What is this about?" He looked at Hiruzen, who frowned deeply, his calm demeanor cracking. "What's going on?" Naruto asked, his voice even, devoid of panic or fear. Hiruzen stood up quickly, his expression grave. "Naruto, I need you to stay here. There's a misunderstanding. Someone has stolen the scroll in your name. I need to go handle this." But Naruto was already on his feet. "No," he said flatly. "I'm coming with you." Before Hiruzen could protest, Naruto flickered from the rooftop, already vanishing into the night. His body flicker jutsu left the Hokage no choice but to let him go. Naruto moved swiftly, his mind sharp and focused. The scroll was a powerful artifact, and if someone had taken it, it would be disastrous for the village. As he weaved through the trees, he spotted Iruka, who had already mobilized a search party. "Naruto, what are you doing here?" Iruka asked, his voice strained with concern. "This is dangerous. You need to stay back." Naruto ignored the warning. "I'm here to help. Who took the scroll?" Iruka hesitated but finally relented. "Mizuki, we have to stop him before he escapes." The two-man cell moved quickly, tracking Mizuki through the forest. Naruto's cold, calculating mind analyzed their surroundings, looking for any sign of the traitor. It didn't take long before they found him standing in a clearing, the scroll in his hands, a malicious grin on his face. The battle with Mizuki, a truth delayed. "Naruto, Iruka, you're too late," Mizuki sneered, his voice dripping with malice as he held the scroll of sealing tightly. "The power in this scroll will change everything." Naruto's eyes narrowed. He didn't respond with words. There was no point in taunting Mizuki back or reacting to his threats. His body flickered forward in an instant, faster than even Mizuki could anticipate. A moment later, Naruto's foot connected with Mizuki's midsection, sending him crashing into a tree. "Ch! You little brat!" Mizuki gasped, struggling to catch his breath, his eyes wide with disbelief at Naruto's speed. Naruto stood still, his face emotionless, watching Mizuki with cold indifference. He talks too much, he thought, feeling no satisfaction or anger, just the cold calculation of a ninja who was completing a task. Iruka followed up with a quick volley of kunai, but Mizuki deflected them, still laughing despite the pain. "You think you can stop me, Naruto? You don't even know the truth about yourself, about why everyone hates you." Naruto's face didn't even flicker. "I don't care," he thought. Words had no power over him anymore. He'd heard enough whispers behind his back over the years. The only thing that mattered was stopping Mizuki, and words weren't going to do that. The battle escalated, Mizuki growing more desperate as he realized Naruto's speed was something he couldn't keep up with. Every move Mizuki made, Naruto was there, faster. But there was something missing in Naruto's strikes, an absence of real killing intent. His movements were cold and calculated, but they lacked that final punch, the force needed to end the battle decisively. Mizuki, realizing he was losing, became more unhinged, his attacks wild and reckless. "Naruto, you have no idea what you are. You're..." Naruto moved again, closing the gap instantly, landing another strike to Mizuki's shoulder, cutting him off mid-sentence. But Naruto still wasn't doing enough damage. He was faster, but his blows lacked the weight of true combat effectiveness. Suddenly, Iruka saw his chance. As Mizuki recoiled from Naruto's strike, Iruka lunged forward, his kunai flashing in the dim light of the forest. The blade struck true, sinking deep into Mizuki's chest, silencing him before he could reveal anything more. Mizuki's body collapsed to the ground, lifeless. Naruto stood over him, expressionless. His breathing steady, his mind clear, as though the battle hadn't even left an impression on him. There was no rush of adrenaline, no sense of accomplishment. "Naruto, are you all right?" Iruka asked, his voice cautious, concerned. Naruto glanced at him. "I'm fine," he said, his voice flat. He wasn't much of a challenge. But even as he said the words, there was a cold void inside him. The fight was over, and yet something gnawed at him. It wasn't Mizuki's words or the fight itself. Something else was missing, something important. But Naruto couldn't place it, and he quickly pushed the thought aside. It didn't matter. All that mattered was that he had won. Later that night, Naruto found himself standing once again in the Hokage's office, the dim light of the candles casting flickering shadows on the walls. Hiruzen looked tired, the weight of the day hanging heavy on his shoulders. His eyes, though kind, carried a deeper sorrow as they lingered on Naruto. The boy stood before him, emotionless, his face blank as he waited for Hiruzen to speak. "Naruto, I owe you an apology," Hiruzen said softly, the guilt clear in his voice. "There are things I should have told you, things you deserve to know, but the time hasn't been right." Naruto's cold blue eyes remained fixed on Hiruzen, but there was no flicker of curiosity or emotion. He didn't press the Hokage for answers. Whatever Hiruzen had to say didn't seem to matter to him. Naruto was only here because he was summoned. He didn't feel the need to question anything further. Hiruzen studied the boy, his heart heavy. "What have I done?" he thought. He's becoming so detached, almost unfeeling. Hiruzen sighed deeply, rubbing his temples as he spoke again, his voice tinged with regret. "As a token of trust, I want to give you something in return for your efforts today." Naruto's eyes finally flickered with something. Interest, but not in the way Hiruzen had hoped. It wasn't excitement or curiosity. It was the cold calculation of someone seeking power. Naruto remained silent, waiting for the Hokage to continue. "You've proven yourself capable, Naruto," Hiruzen said, leaning back in his chair. "I want to offer you the chance to choose a jutsu from the Hokage library, any A-rank jutsu you wish to learn. It's time you gain more tools for your growth." Naruto's eyes sharpened at the offer. He had heard of the Hokage library, a place where the most advanced and dangerous techniques were stored. This was an opportunity for him to gain more power, to add to his arsenal, to prove everyone wrong. It wasn't about recognition. It was about becoming stronger, better than everyone else. Hiruzen watched Naruto's reaction with a sinking heart. There was no gratitude, no excitement, just a cold, calculating acceptance. Naruto finally spoke, his voice even and distant. "I accept." Hiruzen looked at the boy for a long moment, guilt tugging at his chest. There was still so much Naruto didn't know, so much that Hiruzen hadn't revealed. He had wanted to tell Naruto the truth about his past, about who he really was. But the moment had passed, and now, Hiruzen wasn't sure if Naruto even cared anymore. But for now, the promise of a powerful jutsu would suffice. The truth could wait for another day. Naruto left the Hokage's office with a single thought in mind: gaining more power. He didn't care about Mizuki's words or the truth that had almost slipped from his lips. None of it mattered. All that mattered was becoming the best, and proving that he was more than what anyone thought. The void inside him remained, but Naruto ignored it.